All right. All right. All right. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Calling all ashy blokes. Calling all ashy blokes. Front and center. It's challenge day for ashy blokes. It's challenge day for ashy blokes. Air. I'm looking for Baba Day. The ashy bloke Baba Day. That's what I'm looking for. See if he'll show up. I would have gone on Obsidian show, but I don't fuck with him. And he want too many Oreos. Okay. Yeah, well, as long as you eat them in one session. I can't even remember what I said. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see who shows up. And give him a few minutes. They always say I don't answer the if I can answer their questions. Like you can't, well, if you guys saw it, if you guys went to the link and saw, because I only got through half of it. No, you got through half of it. It's like it take him 5,000 words to get to a couple of points, and half of it is basically name calling. But I'm not an elitist. I think my mama had the goodest sense my mom had sense to move me out of the black community where they're all toxic into the Asian community, or what they call the Middle Eastern community. Because Asians, well, what they call Asians is different from what we call Asians. My mom had the good sense to move me out of there. So get away from them toxic people. So you didn't even grow up in the hood and talking shit. Nah, well, like Angry Man Son, somebody's always going to email you some shit because they want to keep it going. What are you doing later, Kevin? Yeah, I'm not going to be on long. I'm not going to be on long. I mean, he comes, the thing is, I don't like is somebody, if you're going to be from someplace else, don't just take the opinions of the people that you're talking to. Look up the stats for yourself. Understand the politics here. Understand what feminism is here. He's throwing around stuff that he doesn't even get. Most black women aren't feminists. Because the feminists screwed them. But the thing is that doesn't mean they're not going to take the advantages. Hell, a so-called individualistic conservative who's a libertarian and he's black. If he gets some, and you can use his blackness to get a fucking job, he will. He's not gonna turn down that job because they're hiring him because he's black. Shoot, he gonna do the same thing. Same thing with the individualistic dude. If he gets hurt, he's gonna take state disability or disability social security if he can. If he needs to eat. So saying that I'm not a socialist or I don't believe in socialism, you don't believe it until you need to take that socialism check. No, he's been listening too much to Obsidian, who's the worst person to listen to. Now you have the lotion. Oh, so where are all the ashy blokes at? All women are opportunists. All, not most, all women are opportunists. Every last one of them. All women are opportunists. How old is this joke? I don't know. I'm talking about Babatune. I have no idea how old he. He did. He probably did say. I didn't finish reading the whole article, man. I mean, I counted it out, man. It was like it's supposed to be a blog post, man. It was like I think it was like maybe 16 pages of shit. I said, damn. Um, I don't care if he's a Trump supporter. I could care less. If you're a Trump supporter and you're honest about what Trump is doing and what he stands for, I have no problem with it. I'm not a supporter of either one of them. I'm a supporter of policy. Give a mouse a cookie. All right, Coca. Are you an Ashley Bloke, Coca 2005? Are you are you a are you a Ashley Bloke 2005? Or you want to get in this? Oh, okay, well, good. He doesn't have to come back to my channel. Good. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that joke. In fact, they told that joke. What was it? In that movie. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. No, we'll tell Coca to stop talking shit. I've heard the story before. Well, if they say something, why don't they talk about their white society? If you want to talk about white society, talk about his white society. Now, in the UK, he's right there. If he doesn't have to go anywhere. All he has to do is get on the train. He can pick amongst how many ever groups of women that he wants to pick from. Because I'm perfectly happy for them to stay on their side of the fence. All he wants, all Obsidian wants is a group. So he's trying to cause a separation of a group, and I'm perfectly fine with that. If that group wants to stay over there, not come over and mess with me, I'm good with it. Of course, he's not going to show up. In fact, Coca, all women are opportunists. All of them. All of them. Human beings are opportunists. All of them. Who thought he was who? He's not an individual. Those are just talking points. appreciate it. It's baked into the sauce. Korean women are doing the same thing. Japanese women are doing the same thing. Has more to do with the environment. Jesse Lee Peterson, man, we went after Jesse Lee Peterson in L.A. man 20 years ago. I'm not interested in Jesse Lee Peterson. He's from Los Angeles. We clowned his ass 20 years ago. We clowned Jesse Lee Peterson's ass 20 years ago. If I wanted to go after Jesse Lee Peterson, I just pull up his old stuff. He finally kind of took diction lessons. He can actually talk a lot better than he could back in the day. At least he's getting paid. It took him a long time, but at least he's getting paid. And right now, it's probably 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, with Jesse Lee Peterson. If I could look it up, he actually started an organization called Bond. Because I think Jesse Lee Peterson, is he out of Watts? I think he might be out of Watts. Brothers of a New Destiny was his old organization. He started it way back then. The old conservative organization for black men at the time. Yeah, it's part of it's baked in the sauce. It's as automation and not automation, but it is the industrial revolution kind of keeps rolling along and advancing. This is what it's going to break up the fabric of the family. Oh, talking about with Jesse Lee Peterson. Oh man, I mean, we used to clown Jesse. He was a clown back then. Okay, white Jews, white Jews elevated him and what's his name? At the same time, to come out of they came up at right about the same time out of L.A. He's just he's just the poor man's version. I'm trying to remember the dude's name. Can't remember. I can't catch his name right now. Why do you want to? Are you an Ashy? Are you Ashy Bloke? Mano, the deals. What's the likelihood Africa colonized again for resources? Whether it gets colonized or not is not the point. If it ever got really decolonized, I don't think the China is going to do it the same way that say Europe did it. Europe uh, kept Africa down for a very good reason. They're competitors, but Africa, China took on a risk it didn't want to take. China didn't actually want to do this, which is develop Africa to this level. They didn't want to do this, but it's a risk they have to take because if Africa develops and the population keeps growing, Africa will be a dog that will not be on a chain, just like much like China screwed over the West. But that is even Europe is talking about developing Africa right now because it can't be stopped. Okay, this is the Ashley Bloke challenge, so it's not open. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not an open hangout. Normally it would be. This is specifically for certain folks. And the regular live streams on Saturday. Yeah, the root is broke, and attacking your base is not a good look. Attacking your base is not a good look. It's very difficult to get a online get an online black publication going, and we start attacking your base. It's not a good look. So you let LGBTQ feminists and men take it over and attack your base. So it was only a matter of time. If you saw the last video, Saint Straw Man, then you know what the title is. If you haven't seen it, then you have to go back and look. Well, they need to go out of business if they're not self-owned. Because the root and the griot say use dog whistle language that gets them rolling. And they got a lot of their push from Facebook. So they've always toed on the edge of dissing black men. As long as they're toeing on the edge, it was fine. When they started to get dangerous, then they had to go. Art, what's happening? Uh, LGBT2 T is actually a policy. They're not taking over TV. It's a policy. They're trying to break down the moral fabric of society so they can easily control it. They're trying to break all these barriers down. They're actually trying to emasculate men because men are dangerous. If a society is actually gonna have a revolution, it's men that are gonna lead it. So you have to emasculate men. Not too much hate mail. Not too much hate mail. Most people don't want to do it because they get roasted. Yeah, if it wasn't faithful, say they'd be shut down already. As far as Root is concerned, that's how they made their fame. They'll say these little cute things that black women pick up and share. That's how they would get it. But if you start attacking your base, that's not a good look, which is stupid. It depends on the environment. No, the family will always be there. It's just a matter of how it's formed. They're already experimenting in Northern Europe of how to reform a different family. Actually, more like the black family, which is less about the nuclear family, more about the extended family, which black people have been doing forever. Uh, now I wouldn't be upside down. I mean, dude, I mean, go look at my video, "The Feminized America." I kind of explain all that. I'm not. I'm tired of explaining this stuff over and over again. That's how come I put it in video form. Because you're asking me. I don't even know what kind of question you're asking me. Yeah, because it's more about class and less about race. They are pushing you out into or poor white neighborhoods, not just white neighborhoods. A lot of white folks are living in tents. Oh, if I was in here, man, if I wanted to sell out for money, I wouldn't be doing this. I do believe it was a Damon Young article. No, that was actually wasn't the root. What was it? Uh, Very Smart Brothers. But the root actually bought Very Smart Brothers. Yeah, basically, if you, I try to give it to you the cliff notes simply instead of going to too much detail. They'll figure it out. Yeah, they'll figure it out. That's going to happen with tariffs, especially in this just-in-time um, environment. Yeah, that is true. The image, that is true. They start dressing like little boys, and then the little girls start dressing like little boys. Yeah, well, if it gets frozen, um, I mean, I've looked at the tariffs. What I'm saying, I'm trying to see exactly what they're are they really. Is this false, or is there really a policy that he's trying to do? Is he really going to be isolationist? I mean, like for real. So it seems he's headed that way, but I really can't tell. I don't want to speak on it too much because it's very difficult to ask. When it gets to this level, it's kind of difficult to ascertain exactly what they're doing because you have so many different constituencies that you're trying to appease at one time. So it's difficult to see exactly what he's trying to do with the tariffs. It is actually, I don't know if it's white owned, but it is owned by Univision, which Univision is Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken, unless it was bought by somebody else. They're gonna try. You can be isolationist in a global economy. You sure can, but it's gonna cost you. What is it? NVOCC, Christopher Clipper. Yeah, that's all right, man. I was getting a headache. I got heated. So, but that's like you guys kept wanting to get a piece of him. So that's the only reason it lasted as long as it did, because I wanted to cut it short because he was saying the same stuff, same shit over and over again. You didn't know what he's talking. After once I tested him once, and you know what he's talking about, I was really ready to move on, but you guys wouldn't let it stop. Um, well, they're going to have to, but the thing is, the global economy is much bigger than steel mills. Six mills is not going to help you a lot. Hell, the thing is, most people don't even know how to work in a steel mill anymore. And well, the thing is, are you willing to commit uh, ritual suicide to prove a point? We'll see. We'll have to see about NAFTA. He wanted him to kick his own chair. He wasn't smart enough to kick his own chair, man. He wasn't smart enough to kick his own chair. He didn't know anything. He's a neighborhood dude, man, that's partially educated, and we're talking over his head. And you guys trying to explain something to him that he's not ready. I'm not saying that he can't, but he's not ready to accept or understand. That's a okay. Non vessel operating comic. Okay. We already are into robotics. Okay. When you say we, who are we? Yeah, yeah, we already are into robotics. Barbados, is that what you're talking about? Or Bermuda or Barbados? I don't know which one you're talking about. Glenn Smith, what does that have to do anything? He has a contract. What are you talking about? Bronze, what are you talking about? Dude, he didn't he couldn't deflect. He couldn't deflect. All they could do was keep repeating the same. He repeated the same thing like 30 times. I I wouldn't hire anybody that made a mistakes. Well, nigga, you had two babies out of wedlock. You still ain't married to your baby mama. So, man of tomorrow is talking about you. He's the same dude that he was trying to put down, which I don't get. Well, the thing is, that's once you do that, because Kevin, we're talking about it. His clothes is just part of it. That's the start, and then changing the whole lifestyle. But that's a good start because they're fitting an image, and they don't realize they're fitting the image. They're fitting the image, and even the so-called educated lambs are fitting the image. Okay, Ming Ming, what's happening? Oh, I'm not IPOs. I don't even know what you're talking about, Coca. Oh, he was got because he had a government contract. Yeah. The thing is trying to explain something to dudes like that, man. It's like explaining nuclear physics um, to a 2-year-old. It wasn't. He's brainwashed. He doesn't even know he's brain. He wouldn't understand it anyway. Okay, it's a one-stop shopping for getting a container here. Okay, from where? Getting a container here from where? Coming from where? Okay, all right, self-tanning. Never heard of it. Oh, he's defending himself against to not have a job. Yeah, and when he doesn't even have a regular job, so I don't get him. But that's just brainwashing because that whole reward good people or reward people that haven't made a mistake. In other words, you should weed out people that have. That's that Fabian socialist um, Malthusian thinking. What they call it social Darwinism. Oh, from anywhere in the world. Okay. Yeah, the shipping containers are actually piling up. A lot of there's a place in China where they have just vast amounts of shipping containers piling up because they're coming back empty because China's not wasn't buying anything now with this. You know what I'm saying is if in my opinion, if a man that has children is going to straighten himself up, train himself to get a job and work that is doing the right thing. I don't know how trying to work and feed your children is the wrong thing. Yeah, well, basically, they want what they want is to for the what they call the poor folks, which is about a third of poor people, a third of the black community actually die off. That's what they want. That's what they, instead of just saying that, because we're talking about at least, well, actually, we're talking about 40% of the black communities like that because of lack of jobs. So you're talking about 40% of black men. So you're gonna lose 40% of your men. But I guess that's what they want. So there's more women for them to actually mess with. Talking about the robot. Well, you said robotics. You didn't talk about owning robotics. There's probably a lot of little firms, but a lot of them won't be IPOs, and they're not big enough. That kind of tech takes a lot of angel investors to get that kind of tech off the ground to where you get an IPO. So if you guys are willing to actually um, be angel investors for there's probably a bunch of smart black guys that have PhDs, could start a robotics firm. But the thing is, are you willing to be an angel investor, actually put up the money to actually get them to the point where they can be an IPO? Oh, okay. Major Payne Diaz. If you want to, if you got that kind, if you got that kind of jack, there's the email. Bring your ass into the ring. Email me. Bring your ass in the motherfucking ring. Ah, okay. Let me check it out. I can't hear it. I shouldn't be. I hear listen to the stream. I don't get it. So, and what I'm saying is, if you want to get on, ain't no sense in talking shit in the chat. Jump in. If you're an Ashley bloke, or think that you're not Ashley bloke, you want to jump in and say something. Jump in. I only put the email up so that nobody else will jump in. I want you by myself. See what the fuck you know. Just like those other two cats jumped on, and as soon as they're talking, well, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Well, what do you know? Give me something. What's your opinion based on? Give me talking points that they heard for the last 30 years. Or if you, Coca, if you have a plan and you have brains behind you, and you have if you have not as an opportunity, but a real shot at making something cutting edge, then then we can see if we got angel investors. We got tech people, but nobody. But the thing is, if you got to have at least a good idea, at least a good technology. Robotics is all over the place, but the thing is, you're weighing into you're going to get some heavyweights. A lot of that stuff is government backed now, United States included. So you're going up against Google, you're going up against Microsoft, you're going up against Apple, you're going up against the Koreans, you're going up to get the Chinese, the Germans, and the French. So if you're getting into robotics, you better have something that's that's cutting edge that nobody else has. Well, the thing is, we got to go out and find them. Is what we need. I would say go on the continent where they actually need that kind of stuff, because a lot of this high tech's gonna be locked up in a minute. As far as robotics, man, basically China pretty much has robotics locked up. as far as advanced robotics. China created a whole city that does nothing but that. A whole city, 10 million people. That's all they do. They do prototyping and robotics. That's all they do. The whole city of 10 million people, just based just on that. They call it the Silicon Valley of robotics, of tech hardware. Everything you want, you can So in other words, any place else in the world, um, it takes 6 months to prototype. There, it takes 6 weeks from start to finish. About who? Wilson and Colin and Callie. What is BART? Oh, Bart's Bay Area Rapid Transit is BART. America's already behind. They're not in front. America's already behind. They're trying to keep up with AI, but as far as robotics, they're already behind. Yeah, they do sleep at work in China. Who is Coca? Who is we? Well, who is Wilson? Nia Wilson. I don't even know who she is. And the BART is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. Was it subway? Was it a train? Was it a bus? Was it a trolley? It's probably the subway. They used to call the BART the subway in San Francisco. Fruitville Station is part of BART. It's the station. That's the Oakland station in BART. In BART. With the neo colony, the thing is, okay, that's a long story. All right, the only way to develop industrialize is to have help. Somebody has to sponsor you. Thank you, Jack Charles. If you do not get sponsored, you will not develop. Somebody has to kickstart your development and help you build your infrastructure with knowledge and technology and money. They have to seed you. If they don't seed you, you won't develop. Europe and America was not going to seed you. You are a direct competitor to Europe. Europe wanted to keep you back in the Stone Age if they could, because you're a direct competitor. If you get technology, you get clean water and hygiene. You're with the birth rate you have that's damn near 6. Within 2 generations, you're going to overwhelm Europe. Europe does not want that. That's how come they kept your numbers down and very low for a very long time. For a very long time, Europe had more population than just about all of the continent of Africa on purpose. They didn't develop them on purpose because they would be a direct competitor. China changed that. China was willing to bring in seed money and seed technology, and now you're going to see an explosion in Europe. So, in other words, it was not going to happen without help. So, that is the devil's bargain that you had to make. What do you want them to do? Stay in the Stone Age and with their pride, or develop and take their chances? Which one is it? You let me know. How would you do it? You want to stay in the Stone Age? We, the black community. Yeah, okay, man. Man, we've been through this up, down, and sideways. Okay, man. Hey, Poet Flowers, what's going on? Let me put my email down again. Cause I mean, I would let you guys on, man, but I don't feel like being on for no 2 or 3 hours. This is just a impromptu for the knuckleheads. Is every hood in America will be called China after China? No, I doubt it. I doubt it. Every hood, there won't be any hoods in America anyway. Not They'll all be called. They'll, All because cities, because they're going to eliminate all the hoods in America. They're going to mix you. They want you to mix. Just how come they're actually gentrifying all your hoods to make you mix. This is not accidental. It's not about money. They're forcing you to mix. And now they're feeding you all this interracial dating, interracial marriage for a reason. For whatever reason, they're gonna ramp this shit up. So the thing is, poor white women and poor black dudes will get together, like poor Mexican women and poor, uh, 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 you know, poor white men and poor black men. They're gonna put you all in the same pool, and eventually you will mix. It's called proximity. Oh, okay. All right, Coca. I could do I mean, I've done Cycle of Civilization. Well, if I did it, nobody's gonna look at that shit, man. I might have done Quigley's thing maybe 2 or 3 times, and I can maybe get 200 hits, and then you guys come in a live stream and ask me the questions. It's like, it's like if I put the videos out, nobody looks at it, nobody's interested, and then you guys come back and ask me questions. How come you can't do this? Can't do this? I've already explained it. I already explained it many times. In fact, I'm getting tired of explaining it. Why don't black men hire and work with you? Yeah. Uh, actually, we did talk about it. We did talk about it, Kevin. We actually talked about it on the Hangout. Um, black men have been taught to think that really the easy answer is because they believe the white ice is colder. You have been the image of the black man for what, damn, 200-300 years has been taught that he's no good, he's shifty, he's lazy, can't be trusted, he's inferior, all that kind of stuff. So that all that psychological programming has been passed down over many generations to it's almost like baked in. It's automatic. I have to fight it. I have to fight it. I have to consciously go out and look for black people to hire when I have something done. When my lawn man for the longest, man, because we our gardener for the longest was a black dude until he died. And the only reason we have the dudes that are still there is because of that are Mexicans, because those are his same workers. Other than that, we'd find another black lawn man. Just about everybody that does work on my house or work for me is probably black. Mechanics, they're just really all black. The thing is, I have to fight against my own bias against my own people. That's been basically um, socialized into me over many many generations. You look on TV, you look on pimps say the same thing about why they prefer to work with white women than black women, because black women are socialized that black men can't do anything. So the reason that so the thing is with Kevin, that Kevin is because you have to, you know, it's not only do you have to be twice as good to get half of what they have. For white people, you have to do that with your own people because the black people are socialized white. We think just like they do. So we look in the mirror and don't think we're good enough. I mean, you have to fight. Basically, it's like the baby elephant that gets tied to the tree and can't get loose. So when he's big and he weighs like 4 tons and can easily pick the tree up and walk with it, he stays attached to that rope because he's been socialized. He's been brainwashed to think that he can't. And a lot of our guys are brainwashed to think that they can't. I hear it all the time. Yeah, in fact, it's hard to find because a lot of black people don't hire black gardeners. It's hard to find. You used to be able to find them all the time. Hard to find them now because everybody hires who? Hispanics. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, Kevin, um, it's more like like I said, marketing to black people are different, and unfortunately, sometimes when marketing to black people, you have to have a gimmick. Sometimes you have to have a gimmick, and you have to use um, archetypes that they resonate with. Because you probably easier getting black women as clients than black men. Because black men are often one, they compete against each other, and two, um, they've been socialized to think that well, they think they're inferior, so they think other black men are inferior. So you have to basically prove, oh man, that this nigga can make me money, or this nigga can this, that, or the other. It is what it is. It's how to deprogram black men. I ain't figured that one out yet. I have not figured that out yet. I'm trying. If I ever do, trust and believe, I'll be giving you a call. Yeah, because there's nothing going back. There's nothing going back. And most ships want something. Containers want stuff coming back to make more money because it's costs just as much to ship a container uh, to back as it does to. So the thing is, they just like a taxi, they're trying to get a two-way deal. I think that's what happens when trade breaks down. All people are intellectually lazy. Black people have been beaten down to be intellectually lazy. And black people are intellectually. Black folks don't really like to read, and a lot of black folks really rely on emotion more than anything else, which is tough. Uh, whole bunch of Hispanics moving into the black areas. Of course they are. I don't know where you live, but that's been going on for the last 40 years, man. Yeah, it's I mean, keep teaching, keep teaching. You need a critical mass, just like anything else. Well, see, Jay Shine. You are an outlier. I'm talking about the group. A lot of most black dudes should give Kevin Bucks just $50 just to see what he's talking about. Kevin is just giving you a shortcut because he's not saying something that we know that doesn't that we don't know works. We all know that it works. We all know that it works. The thing is that we know that it works. The thing, a lot of times, black folks, especially black men, don't want to live up to the status. Okay, they don't mind doing it every once in a while, but the thing is to do it every day. Uh, yeah. Well, the thing is the socialization and breaking out of that socialization, and crack cocaine, and then gangster rap. Just that it fed into the negative image. It fed into the dark side. So now how do we get people to get away from the dark side? Go from the dark path. Uh, and the thing is that black people fled from their communities in the 80s and 90s, and the Hispanics moved in. You standing against illegal immigration is not going to do very much good. You didn't let them in. You're there for a reason. You have no control over your borders. So you can, hell, black folks need to fight for themselves. Taco Bell, Taco Bell, man, Taco Bell. Taco Bell is like, uh, as far as Mexican food, man, it's like, uh, uh, what is it? The McDonald's McRib, passed it for barbecue. Well, yeah. Well, actually, slave movies actually there for white folks more than anything else than black people. It makes them feel good. Anyway, do I have any takers? I don't see no takers. Final questions. KFC for children. KFC used to be good back in the days, man. That shit's too greasy now. KFC used to be pretty, actually, it used to be high quality. Now that stuff, man, I don't know what they do with it now. Hey, my problem child, what's going on? Yeah, Taco Bell is a subsidiary of Pepsi Cola, but as far as Mexican food, man, Taco Bell, I almost rather the tacos from Jack in the Box than Taco Bell personally. All right, I'll give it to you in a minute. You can get your iPad back in a minute. That's my grandson begging for his iPad. He had to do some math. He had to read and has to do some writing before he gets his iPad back. 'Cause otherwise, he'll lay up with that iPad all day long. I'll tell you, Rebels versus New Power Generation. Song by song. Well, there's a bigger catalog for Prince and the Revolution. No, no, they're not gonna come in. Taco Bell was a Mexican telephone company. No, Grupo Telefonos is the Mexican telephone company, if I'm not mistaken. I actually bought some stock in Grupo Telefonos. I think it's Grupo. I think Grupo Telefon. I think that's what it was called back in the day. Uh, you, you can wait for it, bro. Don't worry about it. You can wait for it. Well, ask questions. Final questions. Oh, Shady Flu has a birthday. Happy birthday, Shady Flu. Yeah, Carlos Slim does own that. Yeah, Grupo Telefono. Yeah, is it Grupo Telefonos or something? I can't remember the exact name of it. Man, I bought that stock back in '94 and sold it. Yeah, they do. And a lot of the books they hide. I got tired of watching the Nat Turner movie. I mean, I watched some of it, but I kind of got burnt out on it. I probably need to see it just to say I saw it. What type of music do I like? Straight ahead jazz. I like some classical chamber music. Um, Rap and hip hop. Some R and B, more R and B, mostly. The new stuff. not quite into. I haven't kept up with the new stuff. But 70s, 80s, and 90s, uh, depends on the song. One day I have to pull out my whole hard drive and make up a playlist. A playlist. I love funk. No, I don't smoke weed. Trailer called Glass. All right, I'll check it out. I like Ronnie Laws. I like Hubert Laws. I like Eloise Laws and Deborah Laws. I like all the Laws family. I'm not going to Obsidian's hangout because I don't. I have told myself I'm not going. I'm not going to. I'm not going to get down like that. Somebody else, I might. I did see Unbreakable. Classic rock. Very little classic rock. Very little black rock. Even though I went to all white schools most of my life. Meatloaf with mashed potatoes. Warriors and Ubiquity. Yeah, a couple of songs. Oh, Glass is sequel to Unbreakable. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson gets out of prison. Uh, well, the Jacksons would probably be number one. I would put well, Jackson's Laws and then DeBarge. DeBarge didn't make they didn't they got us thrown out on drugs. They didn't make enough material. Prince or MJ? Michael Jackson. I grew up with him. Prince was a latecomer. Yeah, that the Atlanta Pass. Yeah. Um, it depends. I go song by song on Hubert Laws. Love his flute. If you ever hear him live, man, I've heard him live about 4 or 5 times. You ever hear him live? Um, he's probably too old now, but I'm saying if you ever heard Hubert Laws live, man, just him with him flute by himself, he'll get you up and start dancing. He's that good. Nope, I don't sing. No, it wasn't me. Stylists versus the Whispers. The Whispers had a longer run, and plus the Whispers are local, so I will pick the Whispers. Earl Clue is cool. You have to. It depends on the cut, though. You got to be in move for Earl Clue. Work break over. All right. Yeah, Herbie Mann's all right, but he's not. Hubert Law is actually better. What college did I attend? It depends. Long Beach State, Cal State Long Beach, years ago. Um, Actually, my favorite album by Ronnie Laws is Precious Sensitive. Levert depends on the song. Levert's okay. That his daddy's group, the OJs, is probably more of my favorite than Levert. Slade was cool. They had a couple of songs. Um, I like the big dudes. I like Shaq and Wilt. Nope, I do not believe that Michael Jackson faked his own death. Just like I don't believe Elvis faked his own death, or Prince faked his own death, or Tupac faked his own death. If I had an old school car, what would it be? Actually, old school car would be a 1968 Corvette Stingray with a turbine engine. They only made like 50 of them, but the bad boy go 0 to 100 in like 5 seconds. In fact, that turbine engine actually banned on the track. The top speed of that bad boy is like 300 miles, like not 300 miles, like 210. So that's the one I would pick. Old school car. Neither. The old Snoop was cool to me. Be what you are, okay? Just because you done got old, now you can't do that kind of stuff anymore. I'm glad he's not doing that kind of stuff anymore. He's a, he done squared up. I believe it. Quad B. Nope, man, my knees and my hamstrings will not let me play ball anymore. Okay. I tried that shit one time, man. Tried to shift it in the third gear, pull the hamstring, said, oh, okay, that's it for that. Well, you already had one leave because they let him go. Hubert Laws over Bobby Humphrey. Oh, I'm saying he didn't. I don't understand Babatunde, man. I just like, dude, you're not the talented 10th. I can tell by the way you talk, you're not the talented 10th. Megan Kelly. Yeah, you heard that. Well, she looks like Megan Kelly looked like she might be dead, so could be. Well, good for you, man. You had that old car. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. See if he actually plays. Joe Williams is okay. Miles is better than Freddie Hubbard. I actually saw them both play, and I love Freddie Hubbard, but Miles is better. Weather report over Return to Forever. Oh, okay. It's almost 4 in the morning in London. Uh, I'm just seeing what actually blokes are actually going to show up. They're not going to show up. So I'm going to ready to jump off in a minute. Just I love Tower Power when Lenny Williams was with them was actually better. The Tower Power after is not as good. Even though I love Tower Power horns. The origins of the talented tenth are the is basically the slave master's offspring. They built schools for them, they educated them, and so those were the mulattoes. Those are the original talented tenth, which is similar to what they did in Africa when the African traders, slave traders, actually were married the African women. They actually built towns for them and built schools for them. So basically the same thing. Most of your HBCUs were actually built for the mulatto offspring of white men, rich white men. This what actually was built for. They couldn't educate them in the white schools. They weren't accepted. Kevin McNamara. Well, Craig Hewlett's my boy. So he's one of my teachers. So I had to pick him. And C. Wynn did have a great horn section, and they were on a lot of albums. And for white dudes, they were good. Uh, well, Soul Train was good for its day, but LA is not the same as it was back then. A lot of those kids on Soul Train were not poor ghetto kids or upper class kids. Those were not poor kids. So those were not the actual normal neighborhood kids. Most of those kids had very well-to-do parents. So they were those were upper middle class black kids on Soul Train. So don't get it twisted. They were not poor. Those kids were not from the hood, as we would like to say. All right, final questions, and I'm going to jump off. Oh, they hit the thumbs down. They hit thumbs down. They could have jumped on. I put my email in there. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Grover Washington Jr. and what's his name? And see, Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston. Probably so. No, Michael Jackson had plenty of money, man. He had basically not auctioned off. He had basically loaned half of his whatchamacallit, half of his interest in Sony Music that they wanted back. I do believe they got it. The Jackson 5, they sold it for, what did they call it, 5 or 600 million dollars. So it's a lot close to $1 billion. So I think that they're in assets. His trust fund actually wound up with like maybe almost $1 billion. Yeah, Bill Withers. He was up there. Grover was up there. I mean, so young. Grover was damn near 60, wasn't he? No, he wasn't broke. He spent a lot of money. The thing is, his money couldn't keep up with his lifestyle once he stopped working. Yeah, man, they could have killed him, but who knows? All right. Yeah. All right, folks. Last questions. Last questions. Going once, going twice. Thank y'all for stopping in and keeping me company while I was waiting on these people. You know, he used to buy out top floors of hotels, first class flights. When he made an album, he buy out time for 3 or 4 studios. He's 56. Yeah. All right, folks. I'll holler at you later. Magic versus Kobe. Magic has well, they had the same amount of championships. So, well, Magic says Kobe was better. So I'll defer to what Magic says. Magic says Kobe was better, so I'll defer to Magic. So anyway, folks, I'll catch y'all later. Let me go do something. Let me go back to my normally scheduled broadcast. Go ahead and answer him, Kevin, before I end the broadcast. Yeah, most people don't understand what conservatism actually is, and most of these guys are just conservative. They just use conservative talking points. So when you actually question them what they believe in and why, they just give talking points. They really don't know, and a lot of stuff that they do and they say are opposite what their belief is. And black people are actually black people really are actually socially liberal for the most part, but they have a lot of they're like physically conservative. They have a lot of conservative values. Like LGBTQ is mostly pushed as a white agenda. And black people that don't go for gay marriage and all that kind of stuff for the most part. So most black people are very, very conservative, more conservative than you actually think. They're not. But they have a different mix of liberal and conservative. So white conservatives look at us and say, "Well, you don't believe this and this and that and the other," and because our culture is not the same as theirs. We don't have a blended culture. Well, then when they say conservatives, they want white conservatism and not black ones. So that's where it gets all screwed up, and we get this political gang banging, and especially at this level. At this level, um, it shouldn't matter whether you're a liberal or conservative. You should go from policy to policy at this level, because at this level, conservative and liberal doesn't mean anything, because in the United States, in the West, you have nothing but liberals. You don't have conservatives. Putin's a conservative. Xi's a conservative. Even the people in Japan are conservative. Singapore, they're conservative. Germany's semi-conservative. Everything else everything West is liberal. They're all liberals. So when they talk about conservatives, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't even know what liberal means. If they actually go back and research that stuff, they read a few quotes out of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, and that's where they leave it. Yeah. So um, this new rugged individualism that they're selling these black folks, and then they run back trying to recruit black folks to be rugged individuals. What they're doing is recruiting, because a lot of these cats get out there in these suburbs, like Sergeant Willie Pete. At least he's honest about it. Okay, you get out there in the middle of other folks, and if you're black, because I've been out there, man. If you're a one only, and you out there in the middle of a sea of white people, you're happy to see a black person. You have to come back to your hood to get some culture, because you're out there by yourself. And that's the whole thing. They're out there by themselves. So they're trying to pull black people up or where they are. That's what they're trying to do. They say that they're not part of the community. It's bullshit. They didn't escape. All right, Originals, man. I'm out here too. All right, folks. I'm gone. I'll see you guys Friday and Saturday, hopefully, unless I can get somebody to actually take the challenge. I doubt that they will. But anyway, it's BGS out.